welcome to another speed build in The Sims 4. I hope you're all having a good day wherever you are, and thanks so much for clicking on this video. Today I'm building a small holiday style log cabin. I think the cabin actually works at around 63 or 64 tiles, which is a requirement for a tiny home, so it should be under that on the gallery if you decide to look for it. My ID is olivesimsx, but I'll put that all in the description box for you. The reason I wanted to do this build was because at the weekend my boyfriend and I had a day out climbing a couple of Munros, and usually we would like to stay in a cute Airbnb cabin pod type thing, but because most of our major lockdown restrictions were just lifted in Scotland, it seems like everyone else had the same idea and wanted to get away, so all the places we liked were booked up, and unfortunately we had to drive down and back on the same day, which just isn't as fun, so I thought it'd be nice to create something cute in The Sims instead. It does end up as just a one-bedroom cabin, but it's really cute and cosy, and I think it would be the place that I would like to come back to after a day of activities. I wanted to keep it modern with lots of windows for light to get in, but it's quite hard on a tiny home to do this and still have privacy, but the large sliding doors at the front really help bring in a huge amount of light to the main living area. The floor plan was also a little tricky because I still wanted to have a full-size bed and not use a Murphy one, because I wanted enough space for a dining table, a proper sofa and stuff, but I think it worked out quite well. I also didn't want to put the double bed against the wall because I personally haven't been able to get my Sims to do that scooch over trick, and I think some people have the same issue, so I did play test it and it all seems to work out fine, so the double bed works there. I'm kind of annoyed though because I recorded my build on my boyfriend's PC, but when I got home to play test it myself after downloading the build to my save, I noticed that a few items were missing, like the front door and big pieces of furniture, like chairs and stuff. So I just want to apologise in advance in case anyone downloads it and things are missing. It just seems to be a glitch and I'm not sure what to do about it. I really like these wooden slats that came with Eco Lifestyle, and I think these kept the porch quite private, but it means that you could sit outside and still see the view as well. And I left a big enough gap so the front door isn't covered, so you can have a view from the inside as well if it was winter or something. To keep the log cabin vibes inside, I just kept the whole thing a dark wood. Even though I've not stayed in a cabin like this, I imagine it would look like this on the inside, and I feel like it just keeps it nice and cosy looking. I had originally wanted to use the orange counters, but I thought they were a bit intense, so I went with a grey toned worktop instead, so it wasn't as in your face. I realised during editing that I had left the end counter white, so I had to fix that off camera, but I'm afraid you'll have to look at it for just a wee bit longer. If I'm honest, I'm not a huge fan of the TV sets that came with Tiny Living, but I thought because this one comes with drawers and storage space, then you could keep DVDs and stuff for entertainment. I used the Tiny Living sofa too because, well, it's obviously small, but I think it looks like one of the cozier sofas because of the cushions on it, and there would only be 2 people here anyway, so you don't need a massive one. I actually found out that a lot of the island living stuff goes really well with the theme of this build. Even though they're meant to be more for summertime, I feel like they make it look more rustic, which is good because I don't want things looking too modern inside anyway. The bedroom was a bit of an awkward shape, so I wasn't sure where to put stuff, and I didn't want to make it overly cluttered, so I kept it pretty basic. I don't know about any of you, but I wouldn't really be spending a lot of time in there anyway if I was on holiday, so it's not as if you need heaps of things. But I like the sort of box window in the room, and it can act like a windowsill to put stuff onto, so that can be used instead of a bedside table. I had tried to make the bathroom a bit cooler by putting in a glass screen for the shower, but because it's only a 2x2 room, it wasn't really functional, so it's more like a wet room now, and there wasn't really space to make it bigger, so I've just kept it that way. These doors were the best colour match for the walls, but they're really wide now that I'm looking at them again. I ended up having to move around the decorations in the bathroom because they clip with the door, and even though your sim doesn't do anything with those towels, I still wanted them to be in a practical place. I thought that I'd be able to just place items on here like a shelf, but it actually took me a couple of tries to get where I wanted because the plan kept jumping up and down between the levels, so I have to say I'm a little disappointed that there aren't slots to place things. It would have been nice, but hopefully that'll be added into the game in a new update soon. I also love these hanging fairy lights. I use them so much because they give off a nice colour, but they also add to the wall decoration, so you can keep a wall pretty simple and just add those. I also thought I'd just keep the same style of light throughout the build to keep it all cosy lighting. I I know that's a laundry basket down there, but for the purposes of this build, I thought I'd use it like a blanket basket, so they can curl up under one and watch a movie, or they could take them outside to sit on the porch. I think that would just be really nice. I had to move all the counters around so I could place stuff on the shelves, but it's handy because the shelves already have items on them. I think they're actually from Island Living as well, and again they just bring a nice rustic feel to the inside. I'm really loving this plant that we got in Eco Lifestyle, by the way, and I think it's safe to say that the majority of the Sims community feel the same way, because I've seen so many YouTubers using it, but I just wish we had more like it. It'll be good to see though what comes in the nifty knitting soon. I don't actually own all the packs, unfortunately, but I bought a couple of new ones in the sale, and I noticed that I've got a bigger range of wall plants, which is perfect for a build this size, because then it leaves plenty of space in the ground. And I didn't want to put heaps of paintings up because I thought it might look a bit strange against the wood, although I did find a couple of nice nature ones that go well, so I've tried to keep it to a minimum. The biggest issue I actually had with decorating this build was finding curtains that went well with it. I couldn't use the double curtains because it blocked the door handle, so I ended up using big curtains, which I think are from Dine Out. I mean, curtains don't matter anyway because your Sims don't even use them, and it's not as if another Sim is going to come peeking in. I recently got Outdoor Retreat as one of the packs I bought, so you'll see him actually using quite a lot of their items, but it just has a lot of the things I needed for the build. I actually got it as well because I had some things I wanted to include in my Spark Challenge entry, which I'm still working on, but by the time I post a video next week, it should be on the challenge gallery. I'm trying to spend as much time as I can on it so that I get all the details I want, because I really want to do well, but I'm worried that because I'm new to this, it might not get as many likes as some of like the more popular YouTubers. However, I suppose this isn't my only chance because they're doing more challenges. If any of you have done an entry for the challenge, comment down below and I'll check it out. There are so many talented builders, it's definitely going to be a tough competition. Anyway, back to the build now. I'm doing lots of landscaping for you today because of my disaster with recording last week. I thought I'd make up for it. I really enjoyed the landscaping on this one though, because I could go pretty wild and do heaps of trees and plants, because it's in a sort of wooded area. The more plants, the more it looks like the build blends into the surrounding world. I've made a little fire pit as well, but annoyingly the fire pit was also missing when I re-downloaded it from the gallery, but here's the proof that I did actually put it there. I don't know why it went away. It's a perfect little spot though to roast marshmallows or have s'mores and stuff like that. It could also warm you up if you'd been in the water nearby. I actually don't really have heaps of tips for landscaping. What I do is I basically just go through all the different options and then try them out in different places. Like I see if they look better sized up or sized down. Trees take up a good amount of space, so I just like to place a few down here and there and then place grass around the trunk so it blends in more. And then I just sort of branch out with bigger plants and use more flowers and stuff. The terrain tool's also good to add hills and features, because then you don't need as much plants to fill the space. One issue I do have though is sometimes it's hard to place plants on a slope though, because it kind of looks like they're floating, but sometimes you can hide it, or if you just leave it, it still looks good. To hide the difference between the grass and the terrain paint as well, I like to use rocks usually, but I use more plants in this build and I just use rocks to fill in the bigger gaps instead. Debug items are really good for doing this part too, so loads of extra things that I'm adding in now are probably from that, like the broken tree stump and the rocks. They just make it seem like this area of land has always been there and it's not just a brand new shiny bit of flat grass, because in a secluded area it just looks a bit strange that way. I'm really just doing the finishing touches to the outside now and trying to fill in the gaps. Then I'm going to add some lighting outside as well. I found some twigs in Debug and I put them down next to the fire as though they'd been used for roasting marshmallows, and then I thought it would be nice to have some candles out here as well. I know in real life it would be such a bad idea having this many, but we're in The Sims and they behave the same way as a light, and I think they look heaps better than having loads of chunky outdoor lights that don't blend in well. Also, candles look really nice on those log pieces. I put in the lanterns as well because they add a little extra light. The logs to me didn't actually look that comfy, so I just put these cushions on top so you could sit down, take a blanket up and get all cozy. But that's the end of my build, everyone. I actually really enjoyed this one and I hope you did too, and I'll see you all next week.